Okay. Thank you so much. Fano, Kiora, Kiora. It's just a Kiora is just a way of New Zealanders, Maoris, to say greeting. Kiora, right? Anyways, greetings, guys. Thank you for this. Thank you for continuing to watch this series. Now we are entering into the most complex module. Like basically, it's more into spiritual, and this is this is the deepest I have ever gone into spiritual or religious stuff. And I have to do it. I have to go into the deep end of this one because without this you will not be able to understand the practicality, and you will have a very sensory and logical understanding of everything. But for now, we'll have to just I'll just this one can be a little bit esoteric, may not make sense for you, or it may be a stretch, so you just listen to this. If you're not a religious person or you're not a spiritual person, you listen it out, and just let it just pass through, right? So listen it out. Watch it like that boring scene in a movie, which is just there because it has to be there, right? So spiritual oppression, right? Spiritual oppression, we going to cut it in a very short one. The next one is energy oppression. That was going to be a long series, but this part, the first part of this particular series, spiritual oppression, it's going to be a small one. So basically this is spiritual, right? So this is happening in a spiritual side of things. You cannot see, it's not material and it's not logical, so you cannot really sense this, and you can't really of course can't really see it, touch it, feel it. It's not matter, and it's not even energy, so you can't even feel it. You know what I'm talking about. So don't try to feel it or try to understand it, but just hear it out. So, what is an example of spiritual oppression? As oppression, it's spiritual warfare. The concept of spiritual warfare, it falls under this umbrella of spiritual oppression. Spiritual oppression. I am only going to take example of the masculine side of things. So men, men in general. So there are good men, there are bad men. So there are good spirits of men and there are bad spirits of men, right? So good spirits of men, I am not, because I have not experienced and lived with Mahatma Gandhi. I've not experienced and lived with Martin Luther King Jr. I have seen Nelson Mandela, but I've not lived him, so I really haven't known him closely. So when I now good masculine spirits, right, in the spiritual realm. So now the guys that I'm going to mention are practically living, and I have experienced their spiritual spirit. I have already experienced their spirit, even if they may not have experienced the spirit. So these guys are very, very spiritual, and they're very, very awesome. And we are blessed. I am blessed. I'm blessed that I get to live with them. And so I'm just going to give you an example, right, of good masculine spirits. Example one, Henry Nichols from Black Caps, and Tom Latham. So I'm going to take Tom Latham's experience example in this one. Tom Latham, basically, you see, he's a normal spirit. I don't know, spirit, normal man, right? But backed by a good spirit, right? Good leadership spirit, right? So basically, he's a leader. What he does is he goes out there and he stays strong, and then when he gets something done, he's truly happy. You can see the smile on his face when he gets 100, when he gets a wicket, when he catches the ball, when anything he does for his team, which is cricket, Black Caps. You can see the smile, you can see the real smile, real happiness that he got it done. And that's the pure masculine spirit, right? So that's, I'm talking about a man, but it's a spirit behind him, right? So it's a spiritual force, spiritual energy, which is driving, and it's connected to that particular guy, Tom Latham. So Now there is a group of men, like there is a consciousness, there is good men energy, like you say in the whole entire world, whatever amount of men we have, right? We have spirit attached to those men, good spirit, men of good spirit, right? So cause of those good spirits the world has trust. So there is they say there is goodness, there is still light at the end of the tunnel, there is goodness, there is still good in this world, blah blah blah, because the few good men are doing what they're supposed to do, being themselves, leading with clarity and confidence, and not giving up, like, not surrendering, not getting corrupted, not giving up, their truth, honesty, good character, not giving up for money. If somebody offers them bribery, they don't do it, they just do it for them. And they may have a little family that they do it for, they do it for country, but they're not doing it by, like, kind of selling their soul, aka to meet some needs, financial needs, sexual needs, other, like, addiction based needs. So those good men, right? Those good men are good spirits in the spiritual warfare. If there is a good war between two groups of men, good men and bad men, so these guys are in the good men side. This is not necessary that example is a big war that happened in the past, Mahabharata. It's from India, right? Indian books have this whole fucking philosophy around this, the war of Mahabharata, which was fought between two groups of men, good men, Pandavas, and bad men, Kauravas. Pandavas and Kauravas fought those battles. So that's good man spirit. Now we go to the bad man spirit. I'm not going to go into Indian mythologies, Hindu mythology. I'm going to go to the practical world of practical world, practical Western world kind of philosophy, situation or example, right? So patriarchy. So patriarchy is basically a force that is driven by a spiritual consciousness, which has a bad intention, dark intention. At heart of heart soul matter, the dark intention is the controlling energy, control, unhealthy control, so there is a control. If you're driving a if I'm a bad person, if not a bad person, if I'm a patriarchy, like, I'm a person who is influenced or an actor of patriarchy, and I'm driving a car, for example, I'm driving a car, and then I can drive on the road, and say there is a little bike coming near me. I could be going little, be extra careful, but if there is, I could take example, like, throw that guy off the road. I could do that. That's like a kind of a patriarchy example of, like, to just, even if you don't have to hurt someone, you hurt someone just for fun sometimes, but you hurt someone. So patriarchy is what? It's a collection of energy, right? Spiritual energy, not spiritually. It's a spirit. It's a whole fucking universe of energy, of consciousness, that channels, that comes down to a few men, right? Men like Hitler, Adolf Hitler. There are men in this practical world. I'm not going to take their example, otherwise they're going to come after me unnecessarily, right? Uh, but patriarchy is one good example. So patriarchy is just a label, but it's a collection of men doing bad things, controlling the world, really, really oppressing women energy, feminine energy in this world. Why? Because women energy, it's matter. If women will understand their power, they will not need any men to rule the world. And then these patriarchy men who cannot live without controlling, they believe that they can't do, they only have to be in a controlling position, leadership position, bossy position, not to do good, but to just for their selfish agendas, right? So it's the same guy who will make a very big business. He will not lose a penny. He will have a 25-story house. Example is Khandala, not Khandala, Bombay, Ambani, whoever that guy is. So 2 floors he might live, and 25 floors would be empty. Where, if you have not gone to India, you could go to a Jopar Patti, which is a slum area. you could fill those people in. Or this guy, in a single day's income, he can completely build a very luxury colony in those slummy areas. These guys they got a lot of money. They can convert these slums uh, into into luxury, decent, affordable living accommodations, but they don't do it. Why? Because they want to control. They want to have the money with them, so they can control. They can control people. They can not really control, but they can oppress the good energy. One example, they will start IPL and they will pay a lot of money to the cricketers that have the potential and energy to move anywhere in the world, right? So basically healing energy, right? So if there is a cricketer, say Cameron Green, I gave you an example, and he's got this energy of inspiration. So wherever he go, kids, no matter kids where they are, they might be in India, they might be in England, they might be in fucking Africa, they will see something that he has and they can learn from that, right? So Cameron Green, right? Uh, he might hit a four, or he might hit that shot. That shot. It's not for He's not for everybody, but he's for someone everywhere. So Cameron Green, he can teach with his cricket whole someone to live, to conduct the whole life. To conduct the whole life, Cameron Green, one cricketer, can go around the world, not just his country, Australia, but go around the world anywhere, and he will have something to offer. And that's what they're gonna do. The guys that invest a lot of money on these players on IPL, blah blah blah, what they do is basically they want to break them down by making them overperform, push them extra, paying them more money, so that these guys try hard, but emotionally they are broken down. They're not experiencing, they're not really reaching their full potential. For an example, they on the field every day on a regular basis, they're not, either they're missing mojo or they're missing productivity, so they're not really well balanced, playing well balanced cricket, which is being their best self. They're not bringing their best self to the table because of all that pressure is put on them, from a place of manipulation, from a place of control, and not to by like bypassing other things, right? So Ambani could put so much money into cricket to manipulate and oppress and break the self-esteem of players in a very very deep, covert, manipulative ways, and not build a nice colony in the slum of India, in Mumbai. If you go to India in Mumbai, the first thing you will do is most likely you're gonna step on shit, right? And the India is country, it's like that everywhere. Like 70% of the country is like that. So those who unnecessarily appreciate and give power to India being a spiritual land, I want you to think twice about that. India doesn't have much to offer, just the human power. And Americans know that. Everybody knows that India has just human energy. We can import them and get them to do the labor based job like cooking, cleaning, jobs. They won't let Indians lead. And I have not experienced great leadership so far in India. India as a land has been a difficult country to lead. There have been some good leaders, but it's very, very, very religious based leadership structure there. So think about that. So patriarchy is the epitome of control. Men that have this patriarchal, dark, influenced energy, they will be practicing control over feminine energy, right? Because feminine energy is earth energy. So if you really see, we're all made up of matter. Like, men and women, we made up of matter. Masculine energy is consciousness, it's energy of peace, right? And then it connects to a body and it gets the job done. But feminine energy moves different way. It's the energy of life. It fills the container of masculine energy. So they want to just keep the life like very mundane, right? So control the money, create needs in everything. Say for example, they want to oppress people. Patriarchy spiritually, they want to oppress people, um, by bothering unnecessarily, bother, like these ambulance sign, like police is going on at the middle of the night, and the roads are empty here. The roads are empty, right? But they still have to do the noise pollution, so that people are bothered. If somebody is trying to kiss their girlfriend around here, their mood will be off because of that, right? The mood will be off because of that, because you're kissing, you're getting slow, like that, and then police signal is going, the mood will be off, you know. So that's also a form of bothering, and it's a spiritual oppression. They turned it on at the right time when I was about to get to this topic. So this is spiritual oppression. So we are getting into the patriarchal things, and then patriarchal energy gets into practical men. But before its collective patriarchal energy goes into men, it takes different forms. I call them archetypes, right? Archetypes is a very common term. You must be able to understand. So you have good archetypes and you have bad archetypes. So I'm going to give you example of four archetypes that are dark archetypes, right? Archetypes. And these dark archetypes are pretty much they cover all the control. Not that they're bad, but they're like that. It's they have these powers, dark, like how angels have power, demons also have powers, right? So we're gonna all talk about these four different dark archetypes in the next video, which is again part 2 of this spiritual oppression series. So 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 I'm going to talk about those four archetypes, which will bring it all home for you. It'll be easy to understand. So hopefully, like, it's like a lot of downloads happening right now, so I'm very slow. It's a lot of download, a lot of energy. So that's cool. So we're going to talk about these dark archetypes, demonic archetypes, spiritual demonic archetypes, but they're not bad, okay? We just gotta have to gain the understanding, and then we gotta have the awareness, so when these energies are around, we don't take them granted or easily, and we know how to work with them, right? Work with them, and eventually anything is changeable, right? We can always convert darkness into light, but there has to be a proper motivation, proper reasoning for any bad person to convert into a good person. Cool. So thank you for this one. This was a long one. 17 minutes 33 seconds, 37 seconds, and 38 seconds. 17 minutes and 17 minutes. So now we're going to cover those four bad spiritual archetypes, demonic archetypes, in the next video. Wish me luck, lush me wick. Wish me luck, lish me wuck, and I will see you in the next one. I'm tired.